get another one of those chairs, so it's all three the same.
Yeah.
This is my Captain Kirk chair. I moved it from up front back here because it's comfortable, but also it's just like it's a nice vibe for it. But that chair sits so much lower.
Yeah.
That I look like a giant sitting next to anybody. So.
Well, I mean, I'm not exactly of grand stature.
You're not short though. How tall are you?
5'7".
Are you 5'7"?
I'm 5'7".
I'm shrinking. I've gotten to the age where I'm shrinking now because every time I go in, I'm losing weight and I'm shrinking. Like I'm just here in another year or two, I'll just cease to exist.
It's only give it a couple years, you'll be fine.
Just poof, gone.
Poof.
Yeah. My next weigh in and measurement, I'll be like 3 feet tall and 3 pounds. And then I'll just like Benjamin Button myself just right out of this world. We're doing it a simple route now.
Yep.
We're normally we'd have this cam here recording directly into the computer, but then we'd also have the Blackmagic so that we could do 4K cuts, so that we could do like the vertical crops for TikTok story kind of things. But we're just using like square crops out of the 1080 feed now. So that the files weigh a lot less. It's a lot quicker to work with. So we just go that route now.
So you opted for simplicity instead of like breaking out the drone and the gimbals and the GoPros,
which is painful for me because I would like to whip out all the gear and have the highest quality thing possible. But simplicity of execution has become a thing. And how can
have a lot going?
We do,
like on the regular.
Yeah,
especially according to AI that. You should look up Dusty Thunder in AI. Just ask a bunch of questions. It's a good adventure. It's actually pretty accurate.
Okay, so a question for you, and I'm glad you brought this up because the first screenshot you sent me the prompt was, "Is Dusty married?" I'm like, you didn't even say Dusty Thunder.
No, that was the second one because it was a continuation of the context.
Okay,
yes.
Okay.
So I asked about Dusty Thunder.
Okay,
I'm like, who is Dusty Thunder? And I think my official prompt was using resources from TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram.
Okay.
Who is Dusty Thunder? And it's about that there. And I'm like, you know what? I wonder how like appropriate AI is. And I'm like, is Dusty married? Yes, he is. And listed the whole
thing. Makeup.
Exactly how you would deliver it.
It's wild, dude.
It is pretty wild.
I thought you had just randomly just said,
like, is Dusty married?
And it came back and it's like, Dusty Thunder is indeed married. I'm like, damn, I'm the top Dusty?
That's it? That's me?
Being the top Dusty, I'm pretty proud of now that no longer exists because
you are one of 13 Dusties on famousbirthdays.com.
I'm on there?
You are.
I did not know this.
You're like
actual birthday
number 14,000 popular. Your actual birthday is on there. You were the 13th highest Dusty and like the second highest Storm or Thunder. Thunder being there's only 2 Thunders on famousbirthdays.com.
And the other one's Candy Thunder and she's number 1 and I'm number 2.
No, it was an old guy.
Porn star.
It might have been. I did not look.
Yeah,
we can look that up. Post a link down here for reference. And we'll look that up.
Yes.
Subtitle that with the link.
I did not know that. I got to say, I'm kind of hurt about being the 13th Dusty. Number 13, really?
There's other Dusties. I mean, not other Dusties, but there's.
No, I know. Yeah, there's plenty of other Dusties out there. Even if I was using my Muggle name, there's a lot of them out there. Even if I use my full Muggle name, there's a lot of them out there. And surprisingly, maybe not surprisingly, but surprisingly to me, they're all semi-famous out there. Like one's a race car driver, one's in a rock band.
Does he go by Jerry?
One's in a rock band that's not Primus. They're I don't know. It's like some kind of name that inspires people with delusions of grandeur or something.
Yeah, there's only a few other with my full Muggle name. The most common one actually lives not far from here and is, according to CaseNet, not a real good person. I don't want to get mistaken for that guy because he actually might be in jail.
According to CaseNet,
multiple charges.
He's not great with the ladies.
No,
according to CaseNet,
really not great with the ladies. He's like, oh man,
that's unfortunate.
You went that way with the legacy. Great.
That's no bueno.
Yeah, no.
Oh, and there's another Dustin Storm who grew up in Web City like I did, who is 8 years older than I am, and how this happened. Like I'm sure.
Is he also a mass murderer?
No,
Okay.
No. He's a school administrator, but he was like the star quarterback and went off to Pitt State and played football, and like everybody in the community knows and loves him. I come along with the same name, and people hear my name and they're like, "Oh yeah," and I'm like, "I'm not that one.
No,
I'm not the good one. I'm not. He's the good one.
But you're the good one. You get like people love you.
But he's like the altruistic. You know what I mean? He's the good one.
He's the good one.
He's the good guy. I've always gotten
I'm
like,
the good one, I guess.
That's good. Yeah, you're the good one. Like anytime people confuse us, which by the way, on my personal Facebook page, over half of my connections there still think I'm that guy. I just got tired of explaining it, so I just stopped.
Accept.
Yeah, I'm like, whatever. Yeah, class of '94. Woo. Like I just
aged well.
Got tired. Class of '92. That's 92, what it was.
Yeah.
I just got tired of explaining it. But anytime people got us confused, it always ended up in my favor because he's a great guy. What have you been up to life-wise right now? Traveling a lot, right?
I have been traveling a lot. Originally Q4, like Q3, Q4. Sorry, corporate speak. So that's my bad. It's a thing. Q3, Q4 was supposed to be like no travel for the company. Like let's chill it down. I think it's been like 8 travel trips since they've shut it down.
Yeah, they shut it down for everybody but you, apparently.
Yes. Well, I was talking to my boss and he's like, we're just trying to control expenses. He's like, if you think there's something good, he's like, I pretty much trust you to, if you think you need to be there, be there.
Yeah.
I'm like, hey, here are the places that I should go. He's like, okay. And have you booked it yet? No.
This is the conversation where we make sure.
I'm like, the actual memo came out, says you need approval from these particular individuals. And I'm like, and my boss is high enough in the company that he's one of the approving individuals.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm like, all right, well, at least respond to the email so I can approval the documentation.
The memo said approval, not forgiveness.
Yes. Actually, that was part of the memo of don't ask for forgiveness, ask for approval. I'm like, wow, they really went all out on this.
I feel targeted.
I felt targeted. But no, there's been a lot of that, which, you know what, I enjoy. I get to see lots of different parts of the country, lots of different cool people. I really like all the people I work with, and I do really love my job.
That's awesome, man.
Like, and I'm proud to say that because yes, corporate environment. I am the corporate guy, but I do really like my job. So
yeah. Well, I imagine knowing you as well as I know you, that for putting myself in the shoes of people working at an incoming branch and some dick from corporate comes in, like the expectation is shattered whenever you walk in and present them with a real human being who is solution focused.
Yes.
Which I'm sure is not always the case. Okay. So you've been traveling a lot. Travel has been a nightmare post COVID, really. What has been the worst travel experience in airport you've dealt with so far?
Ooh, that was a redirected flight through Dallas. I made a poor choice because there's a couple airports nearby that I can fly out of. The one obviously that is ideal for me is the one that's 5 minutes from the house.
Yeah, which goes nowhere.
It goes nowhere, only one time a day.
Yeah.
So if you miss that one, I'm like, all right, I'm here for 24 hours.
Yeah.
So there was a airplane problem and I got off, I believe it was in Houston, and they're like, yep, your flight's canceled. We've booked you tomorrow. I'm like, you've booked me tomorrow? Like tomorrow? Okay, 24 hours a day. I'm like, all right, you booked it. You know what? I'll get a hotel, get a rental car, no problem. And I go to baggage claim and my bag's not there.
Oh, lovely.
So I went and talked to a person and they're like, oh, well, no, your bag will meet you at your final destination. I'm like, but I don't get to my final destination for another 24 hours. So how do I get my bag? They're like,
you don't.
You don't. They're like, we can put in a ticket, but it's usually like 4 hours or so to get it because it has to go clear through customs. I'm like, customs? I'm not flying internationally this trip. This is Cleveland, Ohio to Missouri. Customs? They're like, yeah, we got to make sure because it didn't make it to its final destination. I'm like, neither did I.
Yeah.
I'm like, I didn't. It didn't. It's here. I'm like, my air tag and your tracking says it's 400 feet that way. I'm like, just walk around the wall and pick it up. No. They gave me one of those little break in half toothpaste, a bottle of water, and some toothpaste. So I have a toothbrush, toothpaste, and a bottle of water in Houston, Texas, and that is all I have. Because I had checked my bag because I checked my bag.
Yeah, why wouldn't you?
So I'm like, well, I've got my laptop, I've got my iPad, I've got my headphones. That's it.
Did you have a phone charger?
Yes.
Well, then you're good.
Yes, I had at least one phone
all right,
charger.
I'll be back tomorrow. I'll be smelling like ass. See y'all. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you so much. I'll be using that. I'll be using that really abrasive hotel soap.
Yep.
On my whole body.
Use the abrasive hotel soap
with the washcloth they give you.
Yes. It's exfoliating. It's really good to get the dead skin off because it's like sandpaper.
Yeah.
It's really great.
I tell you what, there are parts of my butt that only a hotel abrasive hand wash will get to.
They'll probably sell them to you at the local hotel. You just go, all right, hey, can you give me some of them really scratchy washcloths? That'd be great. I need some cleanliness at home.
Like the ones you're getting ready to retire or turn into sandpaper, but they're not quite there yet. Right on that line. That's my jam. That's what I want.
That's my jam.
That's what I want.
The only other fun thing with that one travel experience, and there's stories for days, but we'll skip those. I decided that I'm there. I'm like, I'll just get an Uber to the hotel. I'm like, we'll book an Uber. So I opened up an Uber, and it was like $130 one way to get from airport to hotel.
What time of day was this to?
It was like 11:30 at night.
Okay.
So it was late.
Not ideal.
But it wasn't like it wasn't an empty airport. It was a full airport. There were plenty of people Ubering in and out.
Yeah.
So I'm like, you know what? I wonder what a rental car will cost me.
Less than $130.
$35.
Yeah.
$35. And I just walked in, got my car, left, came back, dropped it off the next day. Just less than a day. I'm like, this is
Emerald Isle for the win, eh?
Yeah, Emerald Isle for their win. That was legit it. And I'm like, aside from I don't get questioned on my expense report because I'm a responsible human and responsible person. But I'm like, this is justifiable expense.
Yeah. Well, you know what? The $130 Uber probably would have gotten questioned. And, But I have another question here. Do they divulge what kind of airplane problem there was? Or they're just like, there was just an airplane problem?
This particular airplane problem was weather related.
Okay.
And it was my connecting flight was such that all the flights got delayed, but my flight there was long enough that by the time they cleared all the delays, they let traffic go again.
Yeah.
My next flight took off already.
Oh.
So I was taking off.
The airplane problem is that it's not here.
Yes, that was the only problem. I've had some other problems.
This is problem.
It's all gone. It's all gone.
It's all gone. It disappeared.
Mostly though, and I will tell you, and I'm not sponsored by them, so I'm not dropping out an airport name or an airline name, but I do have really good experiences with having to rebook or change flights, or it is pretty handy to the app.
You could whisper the airline.
No.
But Emerald Isle, which is Enterprise, right?
No.
Who was that through?
National.
Emerald Isle through National.
Yeah.
That you can plug.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah, because that from what I hear has been like a lifesaver several times. So
yes, it has been a lifesaver several times, and I'm fortunate enough to have a company that endorses or has the partnership. They've done the work to develop the partnerships with these critical traveling
things.
That's
a big deal, man.
It really is, because especially for that airport travel, I can walk in, jump in a car, and leave.
Yeah.
Versus the ones where you have a line of people. Like there's 15 people, and nothing against all the other travelers out there, but you have people that don't travel all the time.
Yep.
And then you have people like me that travel all the time.
Yeah.
So you see the people and you feel bad because they're confused as to where to go, what to do, how to.
It's me.
And that's all right.
I'm pissed off and confused, and I'm just like, this is terrible.
Yes, but the good news is there's also two types of those people. The people like you who don't travel all the time. There's the considerate people, And then there's the oblivious to the rest of the world people. And I guess there's 3 types. There's the considerate people, the oblivious people, and the blatantly nasty people.
Yeah, not oblivious, just don't give a shit.
Yes,
people.
they don't give a shit and will go out of their way to.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Those are the people that you kind of hope get searched at TSA.
The airport Karens and Keiths.
Yes, the airport Karens and Keiths.
Yeah.
TSA did love my assholery shirt.
I love it, man.
Yes.
I freaking love it. Like, hey, just warn people up front, wear the shirt.
Yeah.
Assholery. They're like, yeah, we love the shirt, but this also means that we have to check your anal cavity now.
No, I can't say that I've experienced that. Knock on wood. I've honestly had very good experiences with all my TSA interactions.
Nice. I saw a guy who wore it was a shirt that talked about TSA foreplay, or it was some kind of statement about that. And he actually got pulled and frisked by TSA. So they were patting him down in the crotchal region while he's wearing this shirt. And it was epic.
That's gold.
Yes. I had never flown commercially until probably 5 years ago when I went with Candy Thunder for work out to LA to be backstage on The View.
You really picked a good destination. First time.
Yeah. First time. You know what we had? We flew Allegiant out of Tulsa, and I view Allegiant as like the Larry Air of airlines, which is like a Schitt's Creek thing. It's like Larry Air. If you are part of the class action lawsuit, please leave now. Like half the room gets up. And I always said Allegiant's slogan should be, we'll get you there.
Yeah.
Barely.
That's like flying all the aircraft that I've done. If you go in with the expectation of they're going to get me there.
Yeah.
Then you know what? Pick Allegiant, go with it.
The best
run
you can
with
hope for.
Yes.
Yeah. You don't need a bougie experience. You just
don't need a bougie experience. Some airlines that I've flown have tried to push that bougie experience a little too far. I'm like, you're trying to be way bougier than you really are.
Oh yeah.
I'm like, I'm on a 21-year-old airplane and y'all have been up for the last 14 hours. Just fly us there. Just like that. That's good.
Just get it.
I don't need
the
snacks. I'm like, we have another hour and 30 minutes and we'll land. You don't have to pretend
I don't need
to
the
be
hot
this
zone
cool.
deep tissue massage.
Nope. Just get me there. I'm like, this is where Allegiant would come in handy. I'm like, sit down, take off, we're done.
I don't know that I have the patience to be like a full-time traveler. I don't know that I could do it. But if I did it often enough, I'm sure I would develop systems that made it
you
tolerable.
develop systems and habits, and you learn sometimes the hard way of, I should not have done that.
Yeah, that happens to me a lot.
But I'm also the kind that I'm the guy that reads the rules. Like, I could tell you all the things you can and can't have on the air, because I don't want to get halfway there and they go, what do you have this in here for?
Yeah.
But when you see people taking the full-size bottle of shampoos on their carry-on bag, and I'm like, there's like 6 signs in the airport that says don't do that. Your ticket, your boarding pass, when you book the flight, it says don't do this.
Fine print?
Who reads? I read the fine print.
You're a fine print reader. Okay.
I'm a fine print reader, so it helps.
Every family needs one.
Yes.
Okay. Well, you were the designated fine print reader. Anytime we come across any contractual agreement, we'll fire it your way first.
That's what I do.
Because I see more than 10 words on an email, and I'm like, I don't have time for this. I'm saving this for later. Mark unread until such a time when I have 30 minutes to digest this information.
But that's also, using those natural skills. I say skills, call it habits or whatever it is. My boss calls me for random shit like that. He's like, what's policy on this? Because he knows that I've read the policy. I understand the policy. I've taken notes on it.
Calling you is easier than looking it up.
Yes.
I respect it.
Yeah.
I respect it.
And then there's people that do that enough that I'm like, here's the link to which you need to go read. Quit asking me the same question 15 times. Yeah. Like, here, you are now empowered with your own information. We're empowering people here.
Here's a link. Control F. Learn it.
You pretty much,
learn it. So if you haven't caught on by now, welcome to another Dusty Thunder podcast with our good friend Bearded A.
Bearded
A. Not beer today. No, today.
Beer later.
Red Bull.
Beer tonight.
In a Chiefs cup. Water in a Chiefs cup. And Starbucks. That Bearded A was kind enough to bring with him when he came to the studio here. So
I'll come into the studio. I figured that
it's jacked up.
Well, it was coffee, an edible, or alcohol. I figured this would be the best way to get productivity. Maybe not quite the level of fun that we could achieve, but also we need this to be able to air.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, well, grain of salt. The team is used to editing elevated content. So
Right.
I'm a firm believer in balancing uppers and downers. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
So if you have Starbucks, you have to balance it out with a little nibble of a gummy. You know what I mean? Like you provide some balance there that provides like a completely chemically induced personality. So, you know,
Yeah, I don't operate that way.
Mm.
It is all up or all down.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no balance. Like all we've had is caffeine.
I can mix it.
Yes.
If I was just straight up caffeine, it'd be like
That's what happens in my brain 24/7.
Yeah. Well, by the way,
Yeah.
like I quit drinking Red Bull about 5 years ago because like I finally got to the point where I could feel my heartbeat in my eyeballs, and like I would get a tight chest from drinking. I just couldn't do it anymore. It was just too much. So I'm way more tame on the caffeine front than I used to be. But shit, I mean, it used to be chase a 5-hour energy with a Red Bull kind of shit. You know what I mean?
There are still times, and as I age, I have to cut back on these things. So the heart doesn't explode, or you don't end up with heartburn.
Heartburn's a thing.
We officially reached that age of everything is a consideration of,
Yep.
Do I have this? Will it give me heartburn?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're there. It's all right. Of a morning, it would not be uncommon for the Starbucks, which is a cup of coffee with 2 extra shots of espresso, some sugar and cream. That's the way we roll.
Right.
And that's one. And then you have a Red Bull, and then you have another one, and then you power 2 Red Bulls, and then maybe you've taken a break for lunch. That was pretty common for me.
It's a lot.
It is a lot. The doctor asked if I wanted to stop that, and I'm like, all right, I'll stop that. So I cold turkeyed that for a week, and it did not fix the problem. Like I was like, man, I'm having some heartburn. She's like, you need to cut out your caffeine. I'm like, I don't think that's it. It wasn't it, so I picked it back up.
Yeah, you're like, well, that. There ain't no benefit to this
Yes.
at all.
Yeah,
I'm just moving along, doc. Thanks.
2 weeks raw dogging, no caffeine from that was an adventure.
I don't know about the cold turkey thing,
But it didn't fix the problem, so I picked it back up.
it's understandable. Understandable. I can't say so. Like normally, I'll rock the Monster Rehab tea. Wild berries, my jam. Peach is the number 2 flavor, but we just did an Amazon subscription, so we keep it pretty well stocked most of the time, and that is good enough. But I drink way more water now than anything. That was one habit that Candy Thunder was really instrumental about making as easy as possible for me to change, and that was a game changer for me. Just drinking a shit ton of water, and now like I can tell as soon as my body starts to feel a little bit dehydrated and can rectify it immediately, so I won't feel like shit the next day. That's a big deal. I don't know. You turn 40 and you start learning how to be a grown up and like drinking your water and shit. I guess I don't know. It took me a long time.
I still think the grown up is a spectrum.
Oh yeah,
like we've not learned all there is to be a grown up just yet. So no judgment. We're not as responsible as we may appear on the surface.
I refuse to learn everything about being an adult. I refuse.
Yeah, I mean, I could say the same thing, but I am also the fine print guy.
Read the fine print on that one.
Just read the fine print.
Read the fine print.
It says it right there in the document.
Speaking of documents, we've got some stories lined up by Candy Thunder for us tonight. Ooh. So we've got some stories to go through, and if my old eyes can see this far, we'll be rocking and rolling here. No, I'm not there yet.
Not there yet.
I
am. I can't see. Actually, I can read that without the glasses because it's far enough away.
So were you nearsighted? Is that it, or is it farsighted? I don't know which one's which.
I'm farsighted.
Okay, so you can read far, okay, but not up close.
Yeah. Gotcha. Well, at this point, this is what my ophthalmologist said. Ophthalmologist?
It sounded right to me. We'll roll with it.
Optometrist.
What is an ophthalmologist? What do they do?
I'm drawing a blank.
They specialize in ophthalmals.
Ophthalmals. It's cancer doctor? No. All right, we got to look that up. In any event,
what does an ophthalmologist do? It is an eye doctor treating eye and vision conditions. Okay.
So the difference between an ophthalmologist and an optometrist?
Yeah, that's what we need. What is the difference between an optometrist and an ophthalmologist? Optometrist is a doctor of optometry, primary eye care, prescribing glasses and stuff. An ophthalmologist deals with comprehensive eye care, eye surgery.
Oh yeah. So if they had to cut on my eyeballs, it would be the
yes.
All right, that makes sense.
Gotcha. So it's like dentist v oral surgeon kind of thing.
Yeah.
There we go. Okay. Hey, we learned something today, folks.
We learned.
Check that adulting box. We're done. Hell of a show. Thank you so much.
Well, that was kind of the point of the adulting box of they basically, she literally said, you got like 40-year-old eyes. So you need glasses now to read stuff throughout the day. I'm like, great. Thank you for making me feel old. She's like, well, you're not that old. Optometrists don't have to have a bedside manner.
I guess not. But ophthalmologists, they probably do.
They may. I don't know.
Your eyeball, so,
no, we don't cutting into the eyeballs just yet. No, we're good.
Nah, we're good. We can tell you that we have some stories from Reddit.
All right.
To read to you that we're going to go through, dissect a little bit, and try to figure out how bad they really are. Our first one is from AITAH and is titled, Am I the Astronaut for Refusing to Share My Dinner with 2 Children? All right, title game, James.
Oh, I love the title.
Based on title alone, what do you think?
You know what? I'm going to try to defer as often as I can to you are the asshole. How about that? I mean, I think this is a 2. I think someone was trying to prove a point. And went a little too far at the expense of children.
Yeah. At the expense of children is definitely going too far. I'm gonna.
The real thing is probably not.
2. Well, you're probably. Yeah, I'm sure it's like an NTA or an ESH, but I'm gonna stick with you on 2. And also, you know what? Even if they end up not being the asshole, you're an asshole for writing a title that makes you look like the asshole.
That's true. Yes.
Deuces.
Is this clickbait?
Could be.
Yeah. Well.
My female 29 boyfriend, Albert, male 35, and I had a great relationship until his family moved closer to us. I haven't seen a more toxic or entangled family connection. It seems like every ex and their mother is an enemy. Every ex-boss had it out for them. Every friend should help out more and more. Everyone should take their verbal abuse. After a few run-ins, I cut mother-in-law off. His sister, female 37, is in the habit of showing up at dinner time. She has 2 kids, 7 female, 9 male, that she always brings along. I didn't mind sharing a meal, but I hated her dropping by without warning. Albert never took action, and this created problems. Sister-in-law has an unbearable parenting style. They're good kids, but she just overindulges them and lets too many things slide as they're just kids. So they interject in adult conversations, have crying fits when told no, and are prone to grabbing, touching, taking objects without permission. So they took things around the house, cupboard items, small sculptures, my stash of hotel toiletries, my hair extensions, to play with, and had me going crazy trying to find them later. Fast forward, and her son, who has anxiety, had a small crisis from opening our kitchen drawer and grabbing some poppets/party snaps. Some fell and popped real loud, and he cried because he was embarrassed. I did not offer comfort because that would be indulging his Snoopy behavior. So I stayed quiet and asked Albert to talk to his sister, which I'm sure he didn't. I'm not happy in my relationship. I don't have privacy. His sister keeps showing up despite being told by me that she can't keep showing up uninvited. I'm sick of having to hide things that I think her kids could get their hands on. I recently put a lock on my home office door because I suspect that sister-in-law has been using my copy machine while I'm out.
Not the copy machine.
Not the copier. Did you check the glass for butt cheeks? I work home and at 2 client sites and have been getting home after 8 p.m. I'm sick of being tense and dreading her visits because he lets her eat through our groceries like she has a right to do it. He has called me selfish and greedy. I thought he would be more considerate now that they gave him less hours at work, and his pay cut caused me to pay for most of our bills. Sister-in-law is a nail tech and a hairstylist. She was also a teacher at a beauty academy until she had her kids. Now she won't do anything but badmouth her ex and complain about how hard life is. She has a place to live with access to food and her own car. I'm thinking that she may be doing this on purpose. Last Friday, Albert went bowling with friends. I told him that I wanted a very quiet evening and didn't want to be bothered. I got home around 7 p.m. and sat down to eat my seafood boil. Sister-in-law showed up, asking for her daughter's backpack that she left behind. I was annoyed. I tried to rush to get it, but her son saw the crab legs and started insisting. I said I was sorry, but that's my dinner. So he starts crying, stomping, and repeatedly asking his mom for my food. I said I was sorry and quickly showed them out. To my aggravation, they didn't leave immediately. He cried outside for about 5 minutes while sister-in-law sat inside her car trying to convince him to get in. As a parent, you don't just try to convince your kid to get in the car. You pick them up and put them in the car. I pulled down the shutters and tried to ignore them. When Albert got back, his face had a bitter expression. He said that he was extremely disgusted about the way I treated his family. He has stopped talking to me. It's been a few days and I'm still getting the silent treatment. I've cried a few times, especially because he's been texting me despite us being physically next to each other. Oh,
yeah, what happened?
He went petty.
He did go petty.
He went petty here. Sister-in-law showed up yesterday, but he wasn't home yet, so I didn't let her in. I'm angry and defeated, and I'm coming to the conclusion that I need to end the relationship because he texted me that I need to apologize to sister-in-law. I don't want things to end between us, but I feel like they are trying to walk all over me. This is so surreal. We had planned on a cozy Christmas together months ago when things were good. I'm not trying to ruin his life. Right now, his finances are not great, and my salary makes a huge difference. I just don't want to be made to feel like his family can get away with what they're doing, and I hold resentment. I texted him about how I feel and how incredibly selfish he is to be comfortable giving to his sister with what my hard work can buy, but can't think to respect my boundaries. Am I the astronaut if I leave? I feel like somehow I'm the failure for not being willing to fight for our relationship. Top comment here before we dive into feedback. NTA, run far, run fast. It will never get better. They've shown you who they are and where you stand with them. There's no salvaging this. What do you think? You agree with that?
You know, ultimately, yes, but perhaps for different reasons than Tom Carpenter.
What are your reasons?
Well, the reasons is I don't feel that she's necessarily ready for a good, healthy relationship.
You don't feel OP is?
Correct.
Okay.
Now, obviously, she's been wrong, and I don't think she's the asshole here. But what we've established is she doesn't know how to communicate proper boundaries, doesn't know how to not let resentment sit. So she's just festering and festering and festering in this instead of, hey, boundary violation, we're going to talk it out. We're going to get a plan. We're going to come to this. So she's continued to keep herself in a situation for her to be wronged.
Gotcha.
So not the asshole. She's been wronged, but I think she needs to take a little bit of responsibility on her own and use this as learning for her next relationship.
I would agree. And the problem with communication in relationships is that you don't go into that relationship knowing how to do it. You have to walk through that fire.
That's true.
You have to go through conflict and communicate through it to figure out how you need to communicate next time to avoid it. Right? Or to more easily navigate it. And the problem is you're going to find that in every relationship. There will be inevitably some kind of conflict that you have to communicate through. The alternative is the first time you hit conflict, run. And a lot of people do that.
Yes.
They just run whenever there's conflict instead of trying to figure it out because it is hard. It's tough. You're going to feel a certain kind of way during the process. So yeah, I understand. Like she needs to learn how to communicate better and not let it get to the point where she's just resenting him. She's not at indifference yet though.
No, she's not at indifference yet. And I could say that there's still a salvageable situation here. I mean, if she really wanted to fight, and we can't judge because run far, run fast is a good piece of advice. Could do that, should do that. But is that running going to drag all of those same issues that created the problem in the first place? I mean, you may not get the same sister-in-law who shows up.
Right.
You may not get the same guy who's mad at you and texts you next to you, but you're going to have some of that. So now it's the devil you know versus the devil you don't.
So, yeah, I partially agree with you here because I think the communication issue and the need for that is going to follow her everywhere.
Yes.
The sister, and I think it probably goes further, like his family has him hooked. Yes. They have him, they manipulate him in a way that is not going to be easy for OP to unmake. And so that's a completely separate battle. That's beyond the communication thing.
But how much is
that's a him problem?
Not done the work to communicate that does need a break. I mean, he's oblivious. He's the frog in the boiling water. He doesn't know that there's a problem. This is just normal for him. It's always been normal for him. Now, is it one of those, hey, you're sitting, this is boiling. You need to get out.
Right.
You need to get out. If you want to be with this, let's get out and let's sit over here. Or is it one of those, she's just deflecting all of her lack of communication towards a problematic situation that she's entered into?
It sounds like she's at least explained to him her problem and why she feels the way that she feels, maybe way too late in this game and not enough and not in a way that was easy for him to absorb. But it sounds like she's at least voiced that concern. I don't know. Like putting myself in her shoes here, if it was a simple communication issue, I'd say like, yeah, this is easily savable.
Right.
Trying to unmake family problems is a much steeper hill.
Very true.
Because they've been seeded so many years prior, right? They've been there for so long. Like those roots are deep. And sister-in-law knows that she can show up at any time and have the kids do the puppy dog eyes and guilt him into doing anything. And OP's at a resentment level now because, he's being taken advantage of and won't open his eyes to the fact that he is being taken advantage of. And now he's being taken advantage of with her money.
Yeah.
The resentment level is like, that's hard to come back from. And it's a slippery slope down to indifference, right? And that's when it's done. But the communication part of it and the lack of the team approach by both parties here.
Yes.
It makes this feel like a toxic combination. Like,
it does.
Unless they have to both be willing to do the work. And that's the hard part. Right now, he's resenting her and she's resenting him. Neither is willing to like be solution focused here. So what do you do?
Solution focused, or as we like to say, stubborn as
yeah.
I mean, that's honestly, that's how Sarah and I have solved a lot of problems, just being stubborn enough to stick it out and get to that communication. Because you can be solution focused, but that's my solution. My solution don't match yours. I think it should be fixed this way.
Sure.
I think it should be fixed that way.
You know what? But if both parties are at least solution focused, that's a building point, right?
Yeah.
You can have a discussion around like, okay, I see how this will work. This piece of your suggestion here will work for this piece of this. I think this piece for my suggestion will work better for this. Like, let's tag team these up and make something that works. Or hell, we'll just try your thing. Like, okay, let's give it a shot and see what happens here. At least it's forward progress to some point. But I think the being stubborn as angle can also lead to just silence, stonewalling.
Yeah.
Right?
And that's, coupling the two together is we're stubborn as to get to the solution. It may be a hard, bumpy road to get there. And there have been roads that we're just bouncing off walls, but we're still going a way.
Right.
It may be hard. It may be rough. We may have bumps and bruises along the way, but
we are still talking about solutions. Right?
Yes, we're talking about solutions. Okay. I'm not actually beating my wife. And she's not beating me, just for clarification.
I wouldn't go in that way with it. I was going a much more adventurous way.
That also helps. It doesn't hurt.
Most solutions are found in the bedroom.
Yeah,
gentlemen.
Yeah, we bunny trailed that.
So knowing what we know now, we previously had an Ask On To assessment. Where would you put OP now?
Honestly, for this situation, we've got to go NTA. For the reason she's in that situation, we got to go NTA 3. Or not NTA.
Ask On 3.
Ask On 3.
I hear you. It's also like dangerously close to an ESH there as well, right?
It really
for the communication side of things.
Yeah. If I'm just looking at OP, and forgive me, listeners, but I'm also a little triggered by this with the passive aggressive nature of the entire situation.
Oh yeah.
Her communication was very passive aggressive.
Yeah.
Albert didn't have a clear, hey, seriously, I want to know they're coming. Like that is my communication and boundary. She's just passive of, I'll just lock up the stuff.
Well, and if like a boundary has to have some kind of consequence attached to it, right? So it had to be like, if they show up unannounced, that door does not open.
Yeah.
And that has to be communicated to her. And who's on the hook to communicate that to her? Is it him or is it her? It should be him, it's his sister,
or at least at minimum united front. So he's got to step up to it, or you tonight and go, hey, now's not a good time. Come back later. You know what? How about Thursday?
Yeah. There's definitely two individuals existing in this relationship and not a team.
Right.
And eventually getting to that team point and saying like, okay, what's our position on this? Instead of like you butting heads.
Yeah.
It becomes a like, how are we as a team going to, what are we going to do about this? How are we going to approach this? What do you think? And conversations start shifting that direction once you start gelling as a team, right? Now, specifically for refusing to share her dinner with the two kids who showed up out of the blue. No, that's an NTA. Yeah, that's an NTA.
For this situation, it's an NTA.
It's on their mom.
Yeah.
Their mom knows exactly what she's doing.
She should be feeding them before, or having you need to respect the people in the house of, you can't take their stuff. Like, sister-in-law needs some.
It's not like what would these kids do if they pulled up to a restaurant and people were inside eating? Would they be like, I want that?
Right.
And would mom let them go up and like beg the people at the table for food? Like guilt them into giving them food? I don't.
That'd be really funny to see.
She just, every Thursday night, hey, it's shrimp night.
It's shrimp night.
Come on, kids. You want to get you some Cheddar Bay biscuits tonight,
Cheddar Bay
baby?
biscuits.
So good and
Look,
tasty.
they got some on their table that look like they're going to eat them. Honestly, and there may be a slight maturity difference that added a layer of struggle here. He's 35.
Yeah.
And he's been with this family. I mean, obviously they're dating. So he may be stuck with this behavior, this situation, and he's rooted in there.
Mm-hmm.
And him being the mature one is not going to either put up with or be in tune enough to his partner for a 29-year-old to say, hey, I got a problem. And especially if she's passive aggressive about dealing with this situation.
Yeah.
And he goes on.
But also, it's really hard for me to put him in the position of being the mature one because he's texting her sitting right next to her.
Yeah, that's true.
And like, come on,
which
buddy.
is a whole nother thing to unpack
Come
with
on,
the
buddy.
35-year-old single man who is no judgment for the 35-year-old single dudes. I mean, I get it.
He's a young man.
He's a young man.
Coming from 240-plusers here.
Yeah.
He's a young man. He's a young man. So NTA for OP. There's
Yes.
obviously a lot to work on there, though. The communication issue is going to follow her.
Yes.
And at some point, she's going to have to learn how to communicate through that. But I'm with OP here. I think somebody who is that okay with being taken advantage of by their family,
Yeah.
it's going to be such an uphill battle that you're looking at years of pain to try to get to a point where you exist the way you did before. Yeah. And that's like, that's not gain. And he's unwilling to change. He doesn't see a problem with it. So it's tough. Oh, okay. So story number 2 here comes from a brand new subreddit that I have never heard of before.
I've not either.
It is the Ask Men Over 30 subreddit. And I'm slightly offended that Candy Thunder put this on the document. At least it wasn't like Ask Men Over 50 or something.
I was getting ready to say the same thing. I'm like, she could have gone with the aspect.
Yeah.
Is there one?
Yeah.
Let's look that up. See
She
if
says, there's an internal note. This is a new subreddit. Oh, it
She's
just
like, you might be offended, but
happens. Just happened.
Just calm down.
Her notes just happened to align with the fact that I called her out for putting an Ask Men Over 30 subreddit on our document here. This is the Two Grumpy Old Man podcast. Once again,
yes, the Two Grumpy Old Men podcast.
Yep.
She does know us well because she put disclaimers and notes and stuff. We just didn't read them.
Well, but we got to them.
We got there.
We precogged it. Okay, title of this story is Girlfriend Gave Me an Ultimatum. Not an AITA, so we won't do the title game with it. But so I've 31 male, been dating, so no.
We don't deal with ultimatums. Next story.
Yeah, ultimatums.
I'm over 30.
I'll show you an ultimatum.
I'll show you.
So I've 31 male, been dating this woman, 29 female. We got a 29 female theme going on for almost 6 months now. I thought everything was going really well. We met each other's family for the holidays, but last night she starts saying that she isn't sure about us because I don't offer to pay for things like her getting her nails done, getting waxing, etc. Says she doesn't feel safe in instances where she is struggling to pay for these things and I haven't offered. Also added that people in the past she has dated offered to pay for her nails, for example, after 2 dates. To be clear, I make a good living in finance, own my house, we don't live together, and paying for things I described above are feasible. I guess I just wasn't offering as 1, we haven't been dating for that long, and 2, she owns a business and has an income. She then extrapolated this to if we were to get married, that she would want to be effectively a stay-at-home parent and wasn't sure I'd be able to provide for us. We had discussed in the past my preference that the mother of my kids, whoever this is, would be able to be a stay-at-home initially, but eventually I'd want them to work again. She previously seemed okay with this, but last night seemed like she wasn't. So as the conversation went on, she basically was saying that if we weren't on the same page in terms of money, then we shouldn't continue the relationship. That she had been in a 4-year relationship previously that she knew year 1 wasn't going to work and didn't want to make the same mistake. To be honest, I was blindsided by this conversation and thought we were falling in love. Now I feel like she's ready to just move on to the next guy if I don't agree to this arrangement, which is pretty heartbreaking. Personally, I would not even imply I wanted to break up over a disagreement like this, and I said I felt like for her to even say that indicated this is a situation where I like her more than she likes me. She, in a roundabout way, agreed, which was also heartbreaking. Just needed to type this out. Everything was almost too good until this conversation, but I feel like the proverbial mask slipped with how she went about this conversation. What would you do? Feel deep down if I have any self-respect, it's over, but want other people's opinions. Top comment here. She gave you an easy out. Take it. Take it immediately. Okay, let's talk about this like in a partner v partner kind of situation, not necessarily just like, you know, if you were a dude and a woman asked you to do this. So if your partner in any kind of way asks you to do something like this, first of all, I get the vibe that she already has a new target that she thinks would pay for her nails. And that's why this whole conversation is happening. That's the vibe that I get.
Or has either been watching too many romantic comedies, reading books, or on some trend of, if he wanted to, he would. And if you want to, you will.
It's possible.
I mean, but if we're taking that too far into, I'm testing you to see if you will, or hoping that my hints will be heard. We don't take hints.
It's a game.
If you want to play games, go play the game somewhere else. This is men over 30, play games somewhere else. Play games.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
Nobody got time for that. The big problem that I have here is that this was a test, because for any partner, these things that there's some kind of secret rule where you're supposed to pay for that. I had never heard of this shit. I didn't know this was a thing. I mean, I guess well, and you know what? I mean, I know we've got into it before, and we'll dance on it just a little bit. The love language, gifts. Yeah.
Hers is gifts. His isn't. He's like, well, you know what? I'm not going to take. She wants it. She owns it. Just dating. If like,
what did she do to get her? How did she get her nails done before?
Yeah, before I existed, she's got her nails done. Like, and as far as he knows, it's fine. He doesn't. Need, if it's one of those, if she was stopped getting her nails done, and then he was like, oh well, I see you're painting your nails. When's your next nail appointment? She's like, well, I'm really trying to cut back. Oh no, baby, I got you.
That's a different thing.
Yes, that's a different thing.
Which is also dangerous, right? Because a lot of people, like even in early dating, well, what did they say? 6 months they've been together?
Yeah.
That's a decent amount of time.
Yeah.
But early in a relationship, a lot of people take pride in their independence, and you risk offending someone.
Oh yeah,
by offering.
What do you mean
for that kind of thing?
You don't think I can afford it myself?
Right.
There's a no-win situation. It's a game. If she wants to play the game, go play the game somewhere else.
Which is why it feels to me like this was an excuse. It was an out. It was an out. An easy out for both of them. She had a new target, and the new target was money focused, which is why money was the out. Right. It was like, oh, baby, I'll pay for everything for you. Just break up with your man. And that's how it ended up. Like, that's the vibe that I get.
Well, and she's diving into discussions that they haven't broached. And if this is the way they breach them of how are we going to handle our finances? Who's paying for what? Am I a stay-at-home parent? Like, this is down the road, or even at that time. All right, let's have those conversations about, are we both going to work? Are you going to work? Or are you going to shut down your business? Or like, these are the conversations you have in a growing and budding relationship to form a partnership.
Yeah.
Not play games. You play games, go over there.
And the way she brought it up too, like,
I know,
was basically, I feel like you're not going to be able to afford me.
She was just being mean.
Okay.
I don't know. If that would have, there wouldn't have been this post. There wouldn't have been any further discussions of, you really just, the original question was, you really just said that, but I don't know if I'd make it all the way through and be like, click.
Like, wow.
I will take my exit here.
Wow.
Thank you, Candy, for finding all the things that trigger with the passive aggressive and the money bullshit. Thank you, Candy.
So the question for you,
yes,
viewer, dear gentle viewer / listener, if when a relationship comes together, and let's say 6 months in, is there an obligation for one party to start paying for things that the other party does? Is there an obligation to start doing that? I don't think that there is. Unlike, if there's number one, if there's somebody whose love language is gifts, right? And they see an opportunity and they ask and they offer, that's one thing.
That's one thing.
Or, if it seems like a greedy thing for one person to ask the other person to pay for that kind of thing, but I could see the girl in the story possibly doing that. But to bring it up after the fact and be like, because you didn't do this, I don't think you're going to be able to afford me in the long run,
Right.
is just a straight up bizzo thing to do. But I don't think there's there's no obligation on either party to start paying for things that the other person does. I don't think so.
No. Now I'm curious. This will be one that I know we're not supposed to, because it's not always a good idea. I'm going to go look back in the comments on this, because we are two grumpy old men sitting over here. That's great. But you know what? Let's hear the female side of it. And I'm sure our spouses will go, hey, you know what? You were dumb. Don't.
We are two grumpy old men. Let's see. But you know what? If this is the Ask Men Over 30,
once we post it.
Okay. I was looking on the.
Because our community, the Dusty Thunder community.
That's true.
The fam will actually tell us correctly. I feel you're all going to call us on our bullshit.
Yep.
Or you're going to say, you know what? You're pretty all right. Or you were slightly okay.
So this
internet trolls are different than the Thunder community.
Absolutely. I was still curious though, what other commenters on the post had to say, and this I really dig. So it sounds like this girl is giving you all you need to know about what she values and where your place is in the relationship. Doesn't sound like y'all are on the same page financially.
What?
Don't forget, hair, nails, lashes, all a luxury. If you're fast enough, you will save money over Christmas and ring in the new year with a fresh set of expectations. Also, if she's saying things like, I struggle to pay for luxury, think about what she's conveying. Her financial priorities are an issue. There you go.
We've conveyed a lack of irresponsibility. And even if we take away, because I don't want to offend, because jeez,
who are you worried about offending?
This is going to get me canceled.
That's okay. We're going to edit.
Oh, right. We'll edit that. I figure the appearance, mostly for yourself, of I look good, I feel good, is more prevalent for women. So to call it a luxury of you shouldn't get your nails done because that's a luxury. You know what? It may be a full luxury, but maybe it's a little more prioritization than a different luxury. The fancy car may not be as much of a luxury because this is helping the daily life.
Okay, let's follow that for a minute.
And will probably get me canceled.
No.
Sorry, I love you all.
I don't think it will. I don't think it will. I don't think it will. I don't think it will, because I'm hearing Candy Thunder's voice in my head right now talk about, how society pressures women to have their nails done, to, have waxing done, to have to do the makeup, to do the cute clothes, to do all the appearance-based things, because that's what we expect of them that we don't expect of ourselves.
We don't expect that. Grumpy old men say that's okay.
Yeah.
We love you as is, but if you feel good about yourself, that makes you feel better.
Right.
Go for it.
But the conflicting logic here is, if this is an expectation that society has set, can you call that a luxury?
Our expectations luxuries.
Well, and there's
a real deep dive in there, because you could go with, all right, the kind of car you drive is an expectation as a business owner to say he is successful, he drives this car, then all of a sudden you end up with a car that you can't afford, a luxury car that's not really conducive to what you should be doing. Is it a priority or is it not?
Yeah.
Luxuries and the extras are just that. But for your individual case, some of those can take a little more priority.
Sure.
Not priority over food, shelter, proper kid care.
Survival basics.
Yes,
right?
survival basics. But you can prioritize some of those a little differently.
As you see fit. And I guess even on, the things that society expects of women with hair, nails, makeup, all the things, there are several tiers to that.
There are definitely tiers.
And if she's wanting top tier, she's wanting to be a trophy wife to somebody. Well,
but we don't know that. I mean, I think that is true. What she's conveying of, if you can't pay for these, you can't pay to sustain us. Well, what's sustainability? I mean, I know my financial history has been such that there have been times where, you know what? I walk into a grocery store with a calculator to make sure that I can afford what I'm buying.
Yeah.
There's times like that. But my family was fed. Everyone worked together and fed the family. And those were those luxuries that got moved out. So just because I can't pay for your nails doesn't mean that, we're talking better. Get me into the better or worse, which is cycle me back to You're playing a game. Play the game over there.
This is also a really good example of somebody overvaluing themselves, or somebody valuing themselves outside of the scope of a relationship, and that's what happened here.
Yep.
And we know who this person is, right? Like, it's very easy to kind of visualize this person, but it goes both ways. And I'm sure that
we do know this person.
Right? I'm sure that there are dudes who come into relationships, or in every relationship, there's a party that shows up with really high expectations for how they're going to be treated and cared for, and it doesn't always work out like that, and that entitlement comes from somewhere, right? So in this case, she is the way that she is because of either past relationships or how she grew up. People are the way they are for a reason, but gonna go through some pain, and this is leave a wake of destruction behind her.
It's funny. I still think we know I'm sure we know the people in this story.
Yeah. Well, someday it's going to be really funny. It's going to come out that like 93 stories we've read from different authors are where this one person just happens to collide with their life and run amok. And like, it's all going to be a big compilation that's going to become a movie. All right, we're going to dive into our third story here. Title of this one is, Am I the Astronaut for telling my wife she cannot come to my sister's bachelorette party just because she's insecure I will be alone with the bridesmaids?
Wait, what?
This title took some twists and turns.
Okay.
Am I the astronaut for telling my wife she cannot come to my sister's bachelorette party just because she's insecure I will be alone with the bridesmaids? So OP is going to be at their sister's bachelorette party.
Okay. I got to go with 3, inching on 2, to be honest.
For saying that wife cannot come?
Yeah. This seems like we've picked the wrong hill to die on, and we're being an asshole about it.
Okay, so following that logic, if I myself were in this situation, which we don't really know what the situation is yet, but my response to Candy Thunder would not be, no, if you're feeling insecure too fucking bad. It would be like, look, if there's a thing that's bothering you to the point of feeling that insecure, I won't go. Okay, I'm with you.
I mean, yeah.
I'm with you. Let's roll through and see how right we are. My wife and I have been married for 2 years and together for 4. My sister is getting married next year and asked me to be the man of honor and also walk her down the aisle.
That's sweet.
That is very cool. Now, this wasn't really a surprise to me when my sister asked me to walk her down the aisle. We suffered a pretty horrible childhood at the hands of our father, who was just a monster. We relied on each other and became super close. However, we survived and persevered. We're both in therapy, as we still have some mental scars from our childhood. While it wasn't a surprise to me that my sister asked me to walk her down the aisle, I was surprised when she asked me to be the man of honor, because I wasn't sure what the man of honor duties were as a man, but my sister wanted me to be there every step of the way leading up to the wedding. So far, I definitely have done a lot of things a maid of honor does. I thought it would be sort of awkward with my sister's bridesmaids, as I really don't know them too much and I'm the only man, but they're really friendly and it hasn't been awkward at all. There is the bachelorette party planned in a few months, which is a weekend party to a resort. Before planning the party, I really thought this would be a girls' trip, but both my sister and her bridesmaids too really want me to come. However, when I told my wife about it, she was surprised and asked if she could be invited to the bachelorette party too. I asked my sister about it, and my sister said she wanted to celebrate the bachelorette party with the people she was closest to in life and the people she was really comfortable with, and she wouldn't really feel comfortable if my wife was there. But my wife wasn't really happy with that answer, and we ended up having a lot of discussions on it. My wife finally admitted that she was insecure that I would go on a weekend getaway at a resort with the bridesmaids who were beautiful. I was shocked with what my wife said, and I reassured my wife that I love her. I finally told my wife that this was my sister's wedding and to not make it about her. I told my wife she cannot come to party just because she's insecure. Am I the astronaut?
Is there a good top comment that we can read here?
There is.
Or was that a...
There is. Well, we hope it's a good one. Let's find out.
We hope it's a good one.
Top comment. You're missing a lot here, especially how your actions and words come off. I will break it down bluntly. 1, you and your sister are trauma bonded. You survived something brutal, and that created an unshakable closeness. That's valid. But here's the problem. When you're so tied to your sister emotionally, it can sometimes feel like there isn't room for your wife. You're so focused on honoring your sister's wishes that you've unintentionally sidelined your wife. It's like your bond with your sister trumps everything else, and your wife feels it too. Your wife feels excluded and insecure, and both can be true. You latched onto her admitting insecurity, but you ignored what's underneath, the hurt of being excluded by someone who's now her family too. Your sister said that she wouldn't be comfortable with her there. Can you see how hurtful that is? Your wife probably feels rejected, like she's not welcome in the family that she married into. That's deep, and it's more painful than you realize. 3, the bridesmaid's comment isn't just about insecurity. Sure, part of her probably feels uneasy about you being around beautiful bridesmaids, and that's human. But more importantly, it's about optics. You're willingly going on a weekend getaway with a group of women who excluded her, even if there's zero reason for her to distrust you. It looks bad and makes her feel humiliated and cast aside. 4, you did not have her back. Your wife was vulnerable enough to ask about going, only to get shut down. Instead of you acknowledging her hurt or advocating for her even a little, you went straight to defending your sister. That probably made her feel like you'd rather preserve your sister's comfort than your wife's. That's a betrayal of sorts, even if you didn't mean it. 5, you're being hard-headed about this. You keep saying, this is my sister's wedding, don't make it about you. But that's dismissive. You're ignoring the fact that she feels small, unwelcome, and second place. Yes, your bond with your sister is important, but so is your wife feeling secure in her place in your life. Your trauma with your sister doesn't give you a pass to minimize your wife's feelings. It's possible to honor your sister and acknowledge that your wife is hurt. Don't dismiss her by labeling it just insecurity. It's deeper than that, and it's on you to see it. Fix this now before it becomes a bigger wedge. Additional comment here. I was a groomsman in my best friend's wedding, and I went to the bachelorette party. We all agreed it would be pretty weird having one girl partying with 10 guys. Wait, he said I went to the bachelorette party? I was a groomswoman in... Oh, okay.
I was a groomsman and went... And
we all agreed...
I would hope that says I didn't.
It says, and I went to the bachelorette party.
Right. We agreed to be pretty weird to have one girl partying with 10 guys.
Yeah. So we're assuming that's a typo in that comment, and that the commenter did not go because it would be weird. I don't know. So
yeah, let's skip the additional comment. However, top comment, you know what? We could just take out the fact that we read the top comment and then just read the top comment for basically what we're going to say. And be like, all right, yeah, just cut that out. Just edit that. We look like we give great advice because that's pretty spot on.
That was solid.
This is your wife, this is your partner. Yes, there are other important people in your life, in your world, but at some point, your partner is your partner is your partner.
Yeah. I'm trying to put myself in OP's shoes here. And if I've trauma bonded with my sister and that bond does trump everything because of the essence of what it is and
right.
its longevity and its strength, right?
Mm-hmm.
He probably isn't seeing what he's seeing. And it is on him to see it. It is on him. But like we talk about a lot, it's also on the team to communicate here.
Yeah.
And his wife did communicate. Like, it came out and was vulnerable and was like, hey, I'm insecure. She hasn't attacked the whole, like, you're not seeing this because your bond with your sister is so strong. That's an outside observation. If you were wife in the situation, do you feel like there's some kind of duty for her to at some point bring that to the forefront because he is blind to it?
Maybe there's some responsibility there, but honestly, I mean, I'm looking at this as best case scenario because, okay, so
you're looking at a bachelorette party with 10 girls as a best case scenario?
I'm not there. But what we have is he's made his answer. He's made his plan. I mean, he planned the weekend and it's there, and he's already told his wife, well, you're being ridiculous about this. Something's still not sitting right for him.
Right.
So at minimum, he went to the internet and said, hey, what does everybody think? I mean, this is the best kind of, am I the asshole? Like, this feels more genuine than a lot of the stories. He's not looking for validation. He's looking for the answer. He doesn't know the answer because he's blind to it. But he also is self-aware enough to know, I may be a little blind to this. Help me out. Help me out, people.
So this is step one to becoming aware. This is step one
to becoming fully aware and being that partner he knows he wants to be.
Yeah.
He's sensing the spider sense is tingling.
You know what I think part of this is fueled by as well? It's not just the trauma bond. I mean, imagine taking on the job of maid of honor. In that role,
I could do it, but I read the fine print.
In that role, bride is God.
Yeah.
Bride's wishes trump all.
Right.
So it's probably a combination here of this trauma bond with your sister, but also in that staffer mode.
Yes.
Of working for the boss of this project. And this project is this wedding, and you are the right-hand man. And sounds like you're towing the company line, right? Like
you're towing the company line. But again, I feel that he either realizes he missed it in the first place because he planned it for a girls trip. He was not anticipating there. So he was at least thinking ahead of, yeah, I'm not going to go. This is a girl. Go be girls. Have fun.
Right.
If it would have been a demand of he already knew he was going, he would have planned it with his wife there. It wouldn't have been a, hey, you want me to go? I need her to go. And again, this is maybe a little bit how I would plan it of if I was maid of honor and I was planning all this shenanigans. And I said, all right, here's the weekend girls retreat. We have 6 guests. Like, well, there's 3 bridesmaids, a bride, and you. Well, yeah, it's her and I are going.
Yeah.
And then that'd have been well, then that would have been killed up front, as opposed to, hey, I planned this, and then boss has an expectation and an understanding of it's going to be all my favorite people. She's not doing it intentionally.
Right.
She's looking for that comfort in I just want to cut loose and have all my people. Well, they are your people now versus he is your person now.
Yeah. I think there's also, now that you bring her up and this scenario where she wanted her favorite people there, that conversation happened after he pitched bringing his wife.
Right.
And she shot it down. I think at the point where she shot this down, she has a responsibility too, to be like, you know what, let me talk to her, because she found out at that moment that she was insecure.
Yeah.
Did she find out?
I don't know that she found out. I would assume that he's not.
She knows though. If his wife wants to go, she knows. She knows it's.
But she's going to see it. She's a little blind to this as well. So Bride is a little blind to this as well. Well, she just wanted to control him. That can cause a rift right there. She just wanted to control what her husband does, even though there's nothing wrong. Well, you know what? Let's take a step back and we're going to tackle this problem before it's even a problem.
Yeah.
So a little more communication on the front end saves you through there.
Yeah.
And I think now he's into it far enough where it's going to have to be yes, we need to, all the top comment shenanigans, we'll splice and edit that look like we gave that advice. But what you have is, okay, now I've got to navigate my sister who I am deeply, deeply close with, and my wife who I'm deeply, deeply committed and partnered with. We need to get them all on the same page because I can't not have both of them. Yes, there will be a change and a separation with the relationship of you and your sister just because that's the nature of marriage. But at the same time, you're pretty staunch of, we're not cutting this person out of my life. I'm not cutting this person out of my life. I've committed to this person. I'm with this person. All right. Everybody, let's figure this out.
Yeah, just at that point, know that
welcome to being obstacles. A maid of honor of navigating the things.
Yeah,
sometimes you got to navigate the problem. That's your job. Navigate the problem.
You took the job.
You took the job.
Once his sister bride, which sister bride just sounds weird, but once his sister / the bride of the wedding that he's the man of honor for, learns that there is an insecurity fueling this, whether she already knows or not, like having that be confirmed, I do feel like there's a little bit of responsibility on her plate to talk to OP's wife.
Yes.
Because as many times as OP can say, you trust me, I would never do anything stupid to this up.
Right.
If there's an insecurity there, hearing from the bride that, like, look, we've had a big discussion about this to make sure everybody was comfortable and they view him like they're like the gay guy friend in the group. Like they view him as a big brother. They view him as, whatever that.
Yeah, but we established that's not the problem. The problem is not really insecure. That is the excuse given because that's easy.
Right.
That's easy. I don't want you going to hang out with all a bunch of beautiful women. That's not the problem. You put baby in the corner. That's what he did. Was he didn't mean to, but he put baby in the corner.
And I think that's a separate problem. But if you on the surface level, like, start opening this thing up, you also have to address with wife that, okay, we can remedy that surface problem. Now what's the issue?
Right.
Like, you start peeling that onion back.
That's the easy problem to fix. Let's fix that one.
Fix the easy problem first, and then start peeling it back to uncover the real issue there.
Which is why I do like that top comment, which props to whoever, if you're seeing this, I think good job.
It sounds like this was written by a therapist. Like,
it kind of does.
Really solid.
Yeah. And honestly, well written. I digress. But looking at all right, yes, fix the problem, but let's not be the dumb guy and say, oh, well, she said this, so I did this.
And give me cookie, got you cookie.
Give me cookie, got you, I got the cookie.
Give me cookie, got you cookie. Give me cookie, got you cookie.
Exactly.
Yeah. So he's going to have to put in some thought.
Yes, we have to put in some thought. And this is why I enjoyed this one a lot, because he knows he's got to put in some thought. He's just looking for a kickoff spot. He knows something didn't quite add up.
And you
with
get the
solution.
genuine vibe like he's really looking for advice and not validation that he really
he's not
wants
looking for validation, which I think hopefully successfully, I'd love to hear an update to go, you know what, this worked out really nicely.
Yep.
I hope the update isn't my wife left me and my sister hates me and the wedding was a failure.
Plot twist. My wife left me and I'm marrying my sister.
I was going to go there.
Everything was already planned.
Yes, but we didn't want to get canceled.
Everything was already planned. If I was going to get canceled for that, it would have been a long time ago.
Yes, true.
I don't know what, I've never talked specifically about that, but you know what I mean? For that level of bullshittery.
So we're in story number 4 here.
4. Yes. Out of, I think we're just doing 5.
Just fair warning. I may have to embrace the full on Timu Dusty here. I may not be quite as insightful.
I think it's a good plan.
I mean, I figure people like Dusty and
we've been way too helpful up to this point.
We really have.
That's the truth.
Our subscribers are smart. They already know all this stuff.
Oh yeah, and you know what? We're just feeling our way through possibilities anyway, which is what we do every time. So why not change it up this time? And let's make the mission after we read the story, obviously, but not to be dissective and try to explore motives,
be more divisive, less dissective.
Yes, let's be more divisive. Let's try to give terrible advice here and see what happens.
Okay.
I'm down if y'all are. And you know what? We have no idea what's going to happen here because we've never done this before.
Apologize for anyone editing in this.
Okay. Luckily, as serendipity would have it, the title of this story, which comes from Am I Overreacting, is Am I Overreacting to my boyfriend's reaction to his friend asking me for his number?
I'm still confused on this.
Am I overreacting to the fact that she knows that we know that they know
they know
he
that
knows and that we know?
I'm going to need a flow chart.
She knows.
Yes, she knows that we know that they know that he knows that she knows.
That's basically it. It's am I overreacting to my boyfriend's reaction? It's number 1. To his friend asking me for his number. If it's your boyfriend's friend, how does your boyfriend's friend not have his number anyway? It's for his number. That's the confusing part.
Yeah, I don't know.
What? Okay. Let's see if the story clears any of this shit up.
Nope.
My boyfriend has a history of jealousy, but came back into my life saying he's a changed man. Last night, we picked up his friend and we were all
nothing like saying I'm a changed man to indicate the true change.
Truth. Yeah, baby, I've changed.
I've changed.
It'll be different this time, baby. I promise. Last night, we picked up his friend and we were all supposed to go to a birthday party. In the car, his friend asks me for my number because my boyfriend wasn't answering earlier. He needed to be able to get a hold of his friend because our dog is literally staying at the friend's house and he wanted a backup way to get a hold of my boyfriend. He said this right in front of my boyfriend and he has a girlfriend and he has a girlfriend he loves and was at Disneyland earlier with that day. Okay.
I feel Disneyland is not important to the context of the story.
Yeah, well, Disneyland is the ultimate form of love. If you take somebody to Disneyland, that's
true. Yes, that shows true commitment.
That's bigger than marrying them.
Yes.
I mean, look, it's
probably cheaper than marrying them. No, it's probably more expensive than.
Yeah.
Have you been to Disneyland?
Maybe about the same. But like, if you kiss somebody in front of Mickey Mouse, that's like you might as well be in front of God.
Have you done the budget of how much it would cost to take your entire family to Disneyland?
I don't want to.
You probably.
I don't want to. I haven't cried in a while, and I'd like to keep it that way. Also, OP for up the title, because what you meant to say was, let's go back up. You meant to say was, am I overreacting to my boyfriend's reaction to his friend asking me for my number? Not his number. My boyfriend has her Instagram and liked their pictures from the trip. Yet he has lost it, saying, no, you're not getting her number. Absolutely not. His friend and I were so weirded out. And then he pulled over and told me to get out of the car and I can walk home.
I'm weirded out.
All this because I had started to give his friend my number before my boyfriend lost it.
Oh yeah, definitely her number.
Yes,
for her number.
For sure it was her number. But wait.
But he's a changed man. There's no jealousy involved.
That's not what this is. This is not jealousy.
This is not jealousy.
This is about bro code
in Disneyland.
Yes. Okay, wait.
Here's
where I'm getting lost. I'm getting lost
in Disneyland.
I need a Disney map to try to figure this shit out.
There's an app for that.
We need an app for this story. He, upon friend requesting this and girlfriend starting to give the number over, loses his shit and then pulls over. Doesn't even allow her time to react. Just pulls over and says, you could fuck him if you were just gonna give him your number. Number does not equal virginity. OP's boyfriend. I don't understand why you're so upset by this, but
They
so
went to
upset directed
Disneyland.
at
She's
your
not a virgin.
girlfriend. Well, she's not the one who went to Disneyland. It was the friend's
Maybe
girlfriend.
She still is a virgin.
So I just say F it and I get out immediately and start walking at 10 at night in the dark. Not doing the back and forth with them. I couldn't take it a second longer. As soon as I start walking, they both say, please get back in the car. But at that point, I didn't want to be anywhere near him and was happy to walk the mile home. He sped off. Attached is what he texted me this morning, and this is my response. Am I overreacting? Okay, here we go.
Ooh, screenshots.
We will
This is
provide these
spicy.
screenshots
Spicy
in the
drama.
edit. So Spotify listeners, if you are not able to see this, don't worry. We're going to narrate it for you anyway. So his message to her. I cannot believe you, and that was the most savage thing I have ever seen. I had no idea you were like that. I'm blown away. How dare you?
Do not ever contact me or come near my ever again. Where's our you do it. I don't know that I can.
Wait. Beer Today is going to read voice 2 in these messages.
The blue side.
The blue side, yeah.
Is it blue or green? It's
I think it depends which device you're using, but I think blue would be OP in this case.
okay. Blue is OP.
I think.
Okay. Do not contact me or come near me ever again. How dare you? Any part of what you did? Damn it!
How dare you spin?
How dare you spin any part of what you did on me? See, this is words. You are mentally unstable and a disgusting excuse for a man.
Okay,
Was
so
she?
it is OP.
Okay, so savage here. How dare you?
Was from him.
She also said, "How dare you?"
Yeah.
Spin it.
How
spin it
dare
on.
you, sir? Okay, so his response to her, are you kidding me? I have been nothing but great to you all weekend, and you try to give your number to my friend who is blacked out? Are you kidding?
Dost thou bite thy thumb at me?
That's OP's response.
Oh, the OP response. Your friend asked for my number so he can get hold of you in case you didn't answer. Because you didn't earlier. He said over and over again it was to get a hold of you and you were overreacting. Edited. Someone is editing this for Internet Clout. This is showing an edited response.
Possibly.
Oh man, now I got the long one.
You have a monologue here.
Apparently a monologue. All right, here we go. You've done this several times in so many other scenarios with your friends, not hearing it. You kicked me out of your car at 10 o'clock at night and to walk in the dark for 30 minutes home. Your friend was horrified. Disgusting. He has a girlfriend. You were delusional. And that is what you always do. My friend who was getting married asked me to your bow tie and you lost your shit. He texted me the bow tie information. I'm done with this. You were lost. It's not even a question of how delusional you are and how degrading and jealous and controlling and just weird. Do not contact me again. The end. If you go. Yes.
If you continue something.
I will bite my thumb at you.
Okay. So he immediately viewed her as like even just being willing to give her number to somebody as cheating on him.
She came with receipts.
Yes. Yeah, he's not jealous.
No, he's not jealous.
I have to remember we're not going to be helpful. We're not going to be helpful now. We're going to give terrible advice. What is your terrible advice here today? Apologize to him.
Let your girlfriend drive? I don't know. It's hard to give terrible advice on this because this is so far outside the realm of we're kicking your girlfriend out of a car and driving off.
Yeah, but
I mean the actual response should have been hitting her in the head with a baseball bat.
I mean, obviously,
you just have to beat a bitch. You got to keep your woman in line.
Look, numbers are sacred.
Numbers are sacred.
You don't be walking around giving your number to nobody once you start dating me. Don't you know that? Don't you remember nothing from our previous relationship? Baby, I know I said I was a changed man, but some things never change. And my willingness to share you with the world has been and will always be nil. You are mine. Your phone numbers are mine. I retired those numbers from the world. They hung the jersey. They hung the banner. They unveiled it at halftime. It is done. You might as well be married, you old hen. To me, you are mine.
Okay, you're channeling somewhere between Southern aristocrat, European royalty, and hobo.
Who am I? Who am I? I am Theodore K. Mullins, and I will not have you speak to me that way. And my terrible advice to you, OP, would be, apologize and be more understanding for God's sake. You're obviously an attractive woman, and he's obviously an unattractive douchebag. So, like, understand that he's always going to be insecure about you wanting to be with someone else because deep down he just feels like he's unworthy. So it's on you. It's on you to remind him that he is worthy of love, and that you coddle his ego for the rest of your natural life.
And my terrible advice to OP is sleep with his friends.
Oof. And then send him the video.
Yes. In person.
Clockwork Orange this sumbitch?
Yes.
Like all his friggin' eyelids open to make him watch?
Yes, pretty much.
Are you jealous now, Steve? What are you? You're not jealous anymore, huh?
Are we still jealous?
You are a changed man.
Are you not entertained?
Good gravy. This is tough. It is tough because, the answer's so obvious here. Like this guy's got some crippling insecurity. Crippling. Like, who hurt you?
Yeah, that's true.
I don't think people are just born this way. Like, something had to happen for him to feel like there's no such thing as loyalty, and maybe that's a reflection more than anything. Maybe he's mirroring. He just assumes that you're as big of a shitbag as he is.
And truthfully, it does kind of seem like he's not really that much of a changed man. And kind of referencing back to the previous, this kind of seems one of those posts that she's just looking for validation. This is such an easy, obvious answer of, no, he's a dick. Who thinks this is normal behavior?
Yeah, I think
you should definitely sleep with his friends.
I think you're right. I think this is more of like, can you believe this? I think this is a pretty obvious
unmitigated gowl. The audacity.
My flab is a gasted.
When did that start?
Is a straight gasted. I don't know. It's been a thing though.
It has been a thing.
All right, you ready for the last one?
Yes, let's rock it out.
And you know what? Thank goodness. I think we might have a new candidate for being entirely unhelpful here, because this is a petty revenge story.
Ooh.
If nothing else,
I think we can do this.
We'll have some fun.
We know how to be petty.
Oh, we know. Yeah, we'll have some fun with this. Title of this one is Petty Revenge on the Neighborhood Lawn Police.
Is this kind of like malicious compliance?
Probably.
I really like those. We should do more of those.
We should. Next time we'll load it up with malicious compliance. And we'll just find ways to make it even more malicious. My husband, 53 male, and I, 52 female, bought our first house 13 years ago and quickly realized we were the black sheep of the neighborhood. We are in a quiet cul-de-sac in the middle of town, a neighborhood we never really knew existed until we started looking for homes to buy. Our neighbors are about 10 to 20 years older than us and keep their yards to an unsustainable protection unless you either... Protection. I was like, why do they got to protect their yards, and how are they doing that? Our neighbors are about 10 to 20
Armed
years
turrets.
old. Yeah. Our neighbors are about 10 to 20 years older than us and keep their yards to an unsustainable perfection unless you either hire a lawn service or are retired and have nothing better to do than yard work 24/7, rain or shine. The neighbors to our sides and across the street are the latter. One neighbor will use a leaf vacuum to remove leaves from his yard and the street in front of his house multiple times a day. If it's storming, he'll stand in his garage with the door open and will rush out during breaks in the rain to remove every last leaf. Dude has serious OCD about his lawn. He doesn't even own one tree and bitches to the other neighbors about the sycamore tree in our front yard because it not only peels its bark year round, but also drops its leaves really early into the season. We don't rake our leaves because it's a great natural fertilizer, but we do pick up large branches and bark before we mow. Not long after we purchased the house, I became disabled and could no longer do heavy yard work. My husband kept it up until he became disabled during the pandemic and couldn't do the heavy lifting either. We now have very limited funds, so we hired a kid to mow and whatnot for us very cheap. When schools stopped online classes once the pandemic was under control, he stopped working and we had to rely on family to help. They are only able to help a couple of times a month at the most, and this is apparently unacceptable to our neighbors. If our grass is a smidge over 6 inches, they call the city code enforcement office and will report us. I mean, that's pretty tall grass.
That is pretty tall grass.
Yeah.
We're not being very empathetic. Carry on.
I've gotten to know the woman fielding the calls very well over the past couple of years. She agrees that the reports are excessive, but it's still required to follow up and contact us about the complaints. Many of their complaints are a civil issue, such as tree too close to a fence, but grass height is the one that we have to abide. If we've had a good rain, like this year it rained a lot, then sure, our lawn is going to grow faster and our family may not be able to come over immediately and help. They have never once spoken to us about it. Never once asked why the sudden change in our lawn care. In fact, we've never even spoken to any of the problem neighbors in over 5 years. Instead, they report us and report us and report us. Again, the city understands and gives us a month to get it taken care of, and we do every time. It's absolutely ridiculous. So one day we decided that we were done with trying to be a nice neighbor and fit in with the golf course lawn crowd. So we got petty. We called the city to get the property line tagged and asked for a copy of the city code about what you can and can't put on your lawn. Pink flamingos are not on that list. We now have 20 large pink flamingos a few inches on our side of the property line and along our side of the sidewalk. There's not a damn thing they can do about it, and it most definitely gave the city official a good laugh. We still got to keep the grass under 6 inches, but it just feels different now. Update. Thank you so much for your support, ideas, and even disparaging thoughts about because our story made it into Newsweek.
I remember seeing this.
Holy hell. I'm shocked and thrilled. Not once did I expect the post here to be noticed, let alone by a news reporter. For those that wanted a picture of our yard, it's in the article. Enjoy. Top comment. Revenge is a dish best served pink. And we got to pull up the pic. We got to look at it here.
Yes.
Here it is, ladies and gentlemen. We can't see it. There it is.
There's a flamingo.
There's the flamingo.
So first of all, I mean, I do really enjoy this because I really don't care what my neighbors think. However, I still kind of feel that there was a lack of empathy when I'm like, 6 inches is too tall for grass.
I mean, I understand. And where they're at, and you can actually see their yard here, right? So,
Yeah.
So it's not like if it was like full lush grass, 6 inches would be hella tall. You've got a lot of bent over like broadleaf here that, if you stretch it out at 6 inches, that came out wrong. You know what I mean? If they they'd have to like get over there and like pull the grass up to measure it, right? It's mostly spotty, like
To pull the grass up.
You have to stretch it out to get
the full
measurement.
effect.
Yeah, of course.
And it's funny because you identified the grass type with broadleaf, so we have hit that old man status of that's a broadleaf. You got to treat that during the fall time.
I wish I knew that much about grass. Like I can't grow,
but no,
grass to save my life.
I see. That's their opposite problem. There's broadleaf, so it's everywhere.
Yeah, I know.
Which is basically glorified dandelions.
Oh man, look at that damn Bermuda right there too. You know what I mean? You can see that shit a mile away.
There's no Bermuda.
Yeah, I know. It's
there are flamingos though.
There are flamingos.
I do like the flamingos, which I think is the best way. Like this is almost as good as the one where they painted their house. I think you read that one a while back. That it was we just painted a house. I'm gonna repaint it again.
It's paint bonkers. Yeah. Well, the neighbors paid somebody to come paint their neighbor's house because the color like visually assaulted them. Like Okay. This is great though. And you know what? We have the guy in our neighborhood. It's a retired couple and their yard even today. And this is December 10th that we're filming this. It is 32-ish degrees today. Yep. It has been colder over the past couple of weeks. His green looks like it's the middle of spring right now and is the most lush, perfect grass, but he enjoys doing it and he's not a dick about it. And as far as I know, nobody bitches about anybody's yard in the neighborhood. Like at least like if you have an HOA and they have a separate code to enforce, then fine. Otherwise, shut the up. And the fact that these instead of talking to you about it, instead of coming over and saying, hey, can I help? Instead of coming over and saying, hey, what's going on? Just file a report with the city, you bunch of cowardly Karen.
I think it's just great that I'm hoping and assuming that there is some kind of revenue stream generated from the fact that their pink flamingos went viral.
Yes, I hope so.
Just so they can buy more pink unicorns. Like we're going to get flamingos and we're going to get unicorns and rhinoceroses and sculptures.
Yep. I mean,
we're not mowing the grass. Screw you.
Oh, no.
I'm putting more lawn ornaments.
I would put artificial grass in that was 9 inches tall.
Oh, yeah.
And I would turn the house into a flamingo.
10 and a half if you stretch it out.
That's right. That's right. On a warm day.
On a warm day.
On a warm day.
Those cold days. It's much shorter grass.
6 inches is a lot. Okay. Yeah, I would take it to the extreme. If you're able, if you have the means to do so, why the hell not? Is there something that you have done to spite your neighbors in the past?
No.
Here's a follow-up question. I didn't think so, and I don't have anything like that either. But
I mean, most of my neighbors don't like me.
Really?
Really?
Well, I guess. Grouchy old men. Yes. Grouchy old men for the win. Okay, I
got one neighbor that likes me.
Why don't the neighbors like you?
Because I don't really do neighborly things. And probably started, and this is probably one of those Facebook neighborhood pages where everyone gets on and does the things before I was on there. Once upon a time, a neighbor was mowing and threw a rock through a window, my window, vehicle window.
Yeah.
And I called him on it, and we proved that it was, and asked him to pay for it.
And that was wrong?
Apparently that was wrong because I was being a dick about it. I'm like, I found the half the rock that you ran over with your mower. I watched you do it. It's still in your yard, and the shards go all the way across the street into mine. Therefore, I know you threw that rock because I was out here while you mowed and threw the rock. And I'm like, this is not
how dare you call me on that? You know?
Yes.
That
was not appreciated.
So okay, but is that it?
I really think so.
Okay. So luckily, well, I say this, half of our neighborhood is like neighborly. They get together and do things. But the other half, the half that we're on, is like everybody just keeps to themselves.
Yeah.
They do their own thing. Right. Like, we'll wave. Everybody waves.
Yeah, there's some waving going on.
And when people go on walks around the neighborhood, like, we'll wave and there are a few that will stop and chat. Especially once I put the Christmas lights up, because they're like, oh, we just love that light show. My kids will just stop and want to watch it all night. When we do decorations and that kind of stuff, like that's, we'll talk
decorations
to them more
next level.
Yeah. We have fun with it. But otherwise everybody keeps to themselves. I don't think there's no HOA. There's no, and there's no false HOA.
It surprises me that there's no, at least an attempt to have an HOA.
There could have
it feels like a very HOA neighborhood.
It could. Well, I think the
just
original,
by appearance.
Yeah, the original intent was that there would be one, but I think they never made it official. And now it's kind of, you've got like, I don't know, maybe in 5 years I could see them like deciding to create one, but creating one after the fact,
they'll create one to try to
easy.
be bougier than you actually are. I mean,
probably, and we're not those people.
We're not those people.
Yeah, we're just not those people. So follow up question for you,
yes.
and we'll use this to start our wrap up process. But when you do yard work, do you do it for you?
Yeah.
Or do you do it for other people and their perception of your aesthetic?
That's my yard.
Same.
I don't really care no.
Same.
Now they can be jealous all they want because my yard looks good. Got the edges and the lines.
There you go.
The greenness. But no, that's for me.
Same.
I mean, yard work in general is for me.
Yeah.
I don't like to hire it out. I've had to because you know what? Sometimes you busy.
Schedules get insane.
Schedule gets insane. Yeah. But you know what? That's one of the very few things in my world that I can start, finish, and see immediate results.
That's true.
And
when you come
I put
home,
in effort, and this is the fruits of my effort right here. A pretty yard.
It's I would say it's the equivalent to like to being able to give yourself a gold star. Right.
Yes.
Because then you come home and you see that it still looks good and you're like, yeah, I did a good job.
Which is very different than cleaning a house. I still like to clean. We like to have a clean as possible house. we're busy. It's not always perfect, but it's clean.
Sure.
But I don't get the same enjoyment out of, I cleaned the kitchen because I made the mess in the kitchen. I didn't do anything to the grass.
Yeah.
I had to go get that and fix that.
Right.
Not, I just got to clean up my mess.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, I hear you.
And that's why it's different. So those of you who think that why are you spending so much time in the yard versus wiping down the counters? Well, you know what? Because I made the mess on the counters and I've got to do that anyway. Yeah. This is a challenge that I can go face and fix.
I think it's therapeutic too.
It is.
But also
2 hours in headphones with no distractions. It's cool. A wonder that Candy doesn't try to mow more often. I want peace and quiet. I'm going to get a beer. I think she's probably
going to start because this past year, and it happens every year, like spring, whenever we're like, I'm trying to get decent grass to grow, and we're trying to kill weeds and get a good start on the lawn. She inevitably every year it's like, you're spending way too much time on this. You're spending way too much time on this. Like you don't need to go mow again.
What?
It's therapeutic to me, but I enjoy it. You know what? It's not just the instant gratification of being able to see that you've completed something. The process is therapeutic for me.
Yes.
And that I really enjoy, and she would too. So I would not be surprised at all. I would not be surprised at all. And you know what? If we start tag teaming it, and you know what I mean.
No, I don't. Please explain what you meant by that.
We'll leave it right there.
What are the multiple contexts you could have meant? If we start
mowing, like alternating who's mowing, then I think it just means we'll end up mowing like that much more often, and the yard will be on point all the time.
It could either be a friendly competition or a judgment of, it only took me 2 hours to do it, and it took you 3. What is going on?
Hey,
or look how much better mine took than yours.
I'm not about speed. I'm about quality. I also
that's not what I heard.
I also got the grass thick enough to where I could start doing some fun things again, like I've done in the past. Or I'm not going to do okay. 6 inches if you stretch it out. If I've got the time and there's enough. Like if the grass is lush enough, I'll start in the center and spiral out. Instead of doing like the straight lines back and forth or just diagonal lines, I'll do more of like actual fun shapes, or start by doing the circles around trees, but grow those circles out and have them collide and have that kind of morph into different parts of the yard. Like it's art. I treat it as art and try to get creative with it, and each time try to do something new, and
helps the grass grow better too.
Cutting it in different directions. Yeah, sure. So doing something different every time, I think, is just a hell of a fun time. But then life gets so busy that you're like it's not a want at this point. It's a need. Like I've got to get it done.
We need to we need to have just a dedicated segment of we tried. Old man tried. Like we're not quite at the level to where we can have that epic perfect grass. We know how to get there. Yeah. We know we should.
Just don't have the time or the money.
Have time.
It costs a lot. Like it costs a lot to try to get it to that level.
Yes.
Too. I don't think I want to know what the guy in my neighborhood who has the pristine yard spends. Both time and money wise. I don't want to know.
Between the sprinkler systems and the irrigation and prepping and aerating and the equipment and the things and
the stay off my lawn signs. Like
I've seen that one.
You need.
Like he
doesn't have one of those.
He does.
He has.
It's on the right hand side. That first house as you come in, there is a stay off the grass side.
It's stay off the grass, but it's not a stay the off my grass. He has 2.
Can we swap it?
He has a stay off the grass or it's like a please stay. He's very, very nice guy. So he's like, it's very polite. But one is about keeping dogs off the grass, and one is about people. Because there was a neighborhood. There
are levels of how not. Oh yeah, the neighborhood poopers.
Yeah, there was a neighborhood pooper, and they were pooping on his extremely nice grass. And when we go on walks, I'm like, kids, stay the away from that lawn.
Yes, please stay off that grass.
I don't want you to be within the radius of where you falling might touch a blade on that.
Yeah, but we would do that. We would do that, teaching our kids respect, whether or not he had the sign up.
It's true.
But
and be like, it's some damn fine grass.
And he's got to understand that as long as people don't respect it, he's going to be nice about that. Like as long as people respect that, they'll be nice about it. There's levels.
Oh yeah.
Like
for sure.
Your next step would be stay the the grass. And then there's the I'm going to sit in the driveway with a 6-pack and a pellet rifle, stay off the grass.
Yep. And then there's the the electric fence line. Yep, the electric fence line. That's the next step, right? But you've seen it. His yard is just impeccable.
It's great. Yes.
It's insane. I'm convinced at this point that he's got like one of those heated blankets underneath his sod to like keep it in pristine condition year round. I don't know. The guy's some kind of
He's
yard
probably
wizard.
got one under his driveway at least.
Probably.
So he doesn't do any snow work. He does all the green grassy work.
Just flips the switch and it's good to go. Something like that. It's crazy.
Artificially generated AI grass.
And you know what? Like, I wish I could grow grass like that easily. I don't wish that I was in a position where I dedicated that much time to my yard, because I think it would stop being a love. It wouldn't be like creative fun at that point. It would be like, I have to devote 30 hours to my yard every week. And
maybe you might like that.
I don't think it would be therapeutic for me at that point.
It wouldn't be therapeutic. I think it would be a more fulfilling job. It wouldn't be therapeutic.
Sure.
But it might be a fulfillment job.
Maybe my standpoint here is just fueled by the fact that I can grow only weeds.
Yeah,
That's
tried.
probably it. Yeah. Hashtag we tried. Hashtag grumpy old men.
Yeah.
And with that, ladies and gentlemen, I think that brings us to the end of the podcast here with Beer Today. Once again, it's always a fun time. I think we should do our be entirely unhelpful approach moving forward. Not on every story.
Right. Yeah.
I think we need to have a segment that is entirely unhelpful.
Yes. I think you should do that with one of your lives. Just like do a voter poll of if someone sends a certain amount of like gift goal. If someone sends a certain amount of gifts, they go,
"You've unlocked entirely unhelpful mode."
Yes, you get 2 gifts, just the normal gift stuff, and then you get if we get 4 galaxies, we're gonna go to unhelpful mode, and you can just be a straight up asshole.
That's not a terrible idea. I
think people would find it funny.
We have this and used it one time so far, but it's drama mode, and I have a single like dramatic light that comes down now, and all the others turn off, and it just goes.
I haven't seen that one.
It's new.
I do miss some of the lives because the travel. You can't stream on an aircraft.
I don't know that we've done it on a live yet, but yeah, I get it. And we haven't. Yeah, finding like which story is right to engage drama mode in is difficult.
I think you should do it. Ironically,
I think so too. Help me convince Candy Thunder about this.
Candy.
Yeah. I think it doesn't matter which story you could do it on. It'd just be doing it
at random.
Yeah. Making any story drama mode.
What do the analytics say?
We'll find out when we do it the first time. Tell you what.
It's either going to be great or we just lost half our followers.
We tried.
Hashtag we tried. Grumpy old man.
That's it. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for hanging out with us Beer Today.
Thank you.
As always, thanks for being here, brother.
Lovely time.
You'll see him again, and we'll see you soon.
Hey.
Bye.